welcome back to my channel. Let me set up the camera somewhere. Okay, here we are. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Manifestress, if you don't already know. I recently just turned 22 last month. I wanted to make a video about lessons that I've learned ever since, because I think I've learned so much throughout this basically my whole life. I just wanted to see if it could help anybody. So let's get into it. I got my notes over here. Number 1, it is never too late to begin again. And I know you probably hear this and you're like, it is obvious, but I feel like so many people don't want to start over again because of the fact that they already done it before. And they're like, what's the point of starting again? If I had to start again, I have to put all this energy into being a beginner. Many people don't like to be a beginner, but I learned the hard way that it is okay to start again. Even if you already had built a foundation on something else, it is okay. Number 2 is to pour into yourself before you pour into anybody else. Basically the same analogy as whenever you were in an airplane and then they tell you to put the oxygen masks. They usually tell you to put it on yourself first, because if you don't, then you're literally gonna run out of oxygen, right? Instead of helping someone else before you help yourself. And I really like to think about this analogy, especially for my people pleasers. Like, I've always been a people pleaser. I think sometimes when you go above and beyond for everybody, you're filling everybody else's cup, and then you end up feeling empty on the inside. So definitely, that is a great lesson that I've learned. Number 3, nervous system regulation changes everything. And listen, if you have not gotten into nervous system regulation, I think you should too. A nervous system regulation is equal a peaceful life. Why? Because you're not always stressed out. It helps physically, it helps mentally. You get into a neutral state. Therefore, when you get on a neutral state, you're able to manifest faster because you are in a better mindset. You are feeling better physically. And ever since I discovered this, I definitely has changed my life so much, because I didn't even know what it was. If you don't know what nervous system regulation is, it's really just regulating your nervous system through tools like meditation, yoga, EFT tapping. My favorite one is EFT tapping because it is like Chinese, I believe it's like Chinese medicine, and you get all the tapping points and you are changing your self-concept in real time. So definitely check that out if you haven't. I really love that. Number 4, let yourself feel even if it feels uncomfortable. And I know so many people love to suppress their emotions. I did as well. I always thought that being emotional was dumb back then. I always thought that it was not okay. Why am I so emotional? And there's a point in your life where you're just gonna explode from you keeping it all in. If you keep on suppressing your emotions, you're gonna feel that 10 times harder than ever before. Why? Because you keep accumulating it. And not only that, when you hold emotions in the body, it's gonna start showing on your face. Is whenever you start getting puffy everywhere. It is all energy. So definitely let yourself feel. Even if you don't like to be sensitive in public, I definitely recommend you do it at home. Cry to your pillow, cry to yourself. If you have anybody to talk to, definitely do that, because it's definitely life changers. Number 5, it is okay to say no and not give any explanation. I feel like many people, especially these days, again, going back to the people-pleasing behaviors, they like to say yes to everything, even though your body is telling you no. But then you don't want to end up badly with that person. So it is okay to say no. You don't owe anybody an explanation, and you have to put yourself first. Number 6, fear of missing out is just fear in disguise. And I know it is fixable. Fear of missing out, really what it means is just you really think that something it's gonna happen if you're not there. That's basically what fear of missing out is. And then you end up feeling bad about yourself whenever you see everybody post pictures of their party, whatever. You're like, oh my god, what would have happened? But at the end of the day, nothing special happens. Once you understand that there's not really anything special if you just miss an event or something everybody else is doing, and you're just focused on your own lane, that's when things are gonna start flipping for you. Because I don't know, girl, just focus on yourself. You do not need everything figured out. And I know, especially when it comes to like us, like, I don't know, I'm 22, I just turned 22, as you can tell. I've always wanted my life figured out, especially after high school, when they tell you, oh, you gotta get things done, you gotta do this, you gotta know your career, you gotta know everything. You do not need everything figured out. There's people out there, especially like, for example, Kim Kardashian. I think she started, like, her career started blowing up like literally on her late 30s. There's people, well, I know there's like many people other than Kim Kardashian, but there's so many people that have succeeded later in life, and that is okay. Especially when you're in your 20s, you're gonna want to experience things instead of wanting to succeed at it. Maybe think about it as the test run, decade, and then right after, you're gonna be able to succeed. And I know this is like easier said than done for most people, because especially these days you see people succeeding on social media, but in reality, the reason they succeeded in the first place is probably because they had a better nervous system regulation, they had support from their families, they started when they were like super young. So really think about that, because overnight success does not happen unless they've been doing it for a very long time. You know what I mean? Number 8, you will be okay in the end. Easier said than done, I know, because when you are going through something, it is really very hard to see the bright side towards the end. But really, my advice is for you to, regardless of what's happening, always try to say everything's gonna be okay in the end, because it is. Think about a time where you felt like you were struggling, and then in the end, everything ended up working out your way, or way better than it was. So yeah, I mean, it's just a reminder to not be pessimistic and to not think it's the end of the world. People who are hurting others are hurting inside. And I think I learned this at a very young age, but also I think right now I think I just came in closure with it. When I was younger, I used to get bullied all the time because of my weight, because of my looks, the way that I presented myself, especially because I had brothers growing up. So I was not very feminine, and many people didn't like that, or people didn't like the way that I liked myself. So I remember the girls were hurting me, the girls were saying very meaningful things, and I never really understood why, because I was telling myself, well, if I'm nice to everybody, why is nobody nice to me? Until one time we got sent to like school therapy or something. I don't know, my school had kind of like a weird system of like therapy, and then I found out that they were actually struggling, they were actually hurting on the inside, because their family members were I'm not gonna go into details, but they were going through a really bad situation themselves. And usually when someone's mean to you, that's because they're projecting their thoughts in you. They don't want to see you succeed because they cannot see success on themselves, if that makes sense. So really, do not take everything personally from what other people say, because that has nothing to do with you. Number 10, your phone can control or numb your life. And I know I'm probably being a hypocrite right now because I'm using my phone filming this, and you're probably watching this as well. But just be mindful of what you watch. Be mindful of what you consume, because what you consume becomes you. I've always been a phone user my whole life. I think everybody has, but especially me, when I was little, I've always used my phone. I think I stopped playing at such a young age, and I think I had access of things that I wasn't supposed to and I wasn't allowed to. And it definitely changed my life for the wrong reasons. And as I started growing up, I did realize that my mom was right about it was always the damn phone, because it really was. Because really, I think everybody's starting to realize that social media is really killing the present moment. And being in the present, it's really escape of reality now. Really just try to invest your time and do something better, because I mean, I don't know what your screen time is like, but it really isn't worth it to spend your whole life in your phone, because that will definitely be a regret later in life for most people once they get older, of like, oh, I wish I did not look at my phone as much as I did when I was younger, and instead like live my life instead. So yeah, just something to think about. Number 11, be deeply aware of who you trust. And I know some people have good hearts, but some people also do not have good hearts. So really, I mean, self-explanatory. Be mindful of what you share to others. You see, I learned this when I was at work, because I would trust my coworkers, and Obviously, it did not end up well. It made me look like I had really bad image. It really looked like I was a very hateful individual. And I just ended up learning that I should not trust everybody because everybody could really throw you under the bus whenever you least expect it. So really be mindful of what you share to others. Number 12, the faster that you fail, the faster that you're gonna succeed. And I think this also goes with the fear of being seen. Like right now, I am being seen. This channel literally has like 7 subscribers or something. And I'm deeply grateful of that. But I wish I started earlier. I wish I felt earlier. I wish I was okay with my fear of failure. But fear of failure really is just pushing you back to really succeed later in life, because it's now or it's never, and you're gonna fail regardless. So you have to be okay with failing, really. Which leads me to my next point, that waiting to be perfect is really just procrastination. Again, fear of failure, procrastination. Really, when people procrastinate, is because their nervous system does not feel safe with taking action. They think that, okay, I have a fear of failure, everybody's gonna look at me, so you see, that is anxiety right there. That is nervous system dysregulation, and you have to get that out of the way for you to take action and also develop your dream life as well. Number 14, forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. I used to be the most petty person ever. If someone were to do something to me, I was always the one to say I would never forgive anybody, because I thought forgiveness was weakness and it was for them. But then once you start holding so many grudges with people, it is not worth it to hold grudges for people. Especially because when you don't forgive, they're on your mind 24/7, and you always think, oh, they did me wrong. Oh, they did this to me. So really, forgiveness is just freeing yourself. You're telling yourself it is okay that this happened. It won't happen ever again. You don't have to forgive the person and be friends with them. You really just have to let it go. Because letting go is letting go of control, letting go of them completely. Number 15, peace can feel boring when you are used to chaos. And I think I especially learned this with my relationship with my husband. I think our relationship's pretty boring sometimes. I'm not even gonna lie. But that does not mean that it's bad. In fact, sometimes people like to romanticize relationships that make them feel anxious, that make them feel those butterflies. When you feel those butterflies, that's because your body is literally warning you that you should not be around this person, because this person literally is killing me on the inside. This person is literally making me feel anxious, because they are a super red flag. They are a big red flag, so get away from them. A lot of people romanticize these feelings, especially they romanticize love at first sight. Personally, my past relationships were not good. I romanticized a lot, and it made me realize that it was a lot of chaos. And now that I'm married, obviously, and I ended up meeting my husband, it feels peaceful, but it's boring. And that's exactly how it's supposed to feel like. Number 16, your pace is not a weakness. This comes from seeing people online and seeing their capacity for them to do things. So let's say you see someone go to school, go to work, have all these hobbies, and you're wondering why can't I, if I can only do this and this. And at least for me, I've always been so perfectionist. I've always been so, why can I not do what everybody else does? But really, you have to understand that every person has different capacities. You cannot do what someone else does. You have to check what is okay to do with you. Some people's days look different than yours, and that is completely okay. As long as you are following the path that you're supposed to, you are totally fine. Which leads me to my next point, that you are allowed to change your mind. I feel like sometimes we want to people please everybody with not wanting to change your mind because you don't want to change paths. For example, when it comes to career and you already made up your mind, and then you don't like the career anymore, and then you want to switch. And I mean, it really is just okay. And I know it doesn't, especially when it comes to school, it is not okay, because apparently you have to take different classes and everything. But at the end of the day, it's all about what makes you happy. what is your path to authenticity, and what is the closest thing that comes to you. So it really is okay to change your mind. Number 18, healing is not linear. I learned this because I've been healing a lot of traumas that I've gone through in my whole lifetime. And I realized that sometimes life just keeps throwing things at you, and healing, it is not linear. Like, for example, I've been healing my childhood for a very long time, but then I just came back in my hometown, and I realized that there are still some things that are lingering here and there. And those are the limiting beliefs that just pop up here and there. And really, you just have to sit in with the thoughts, with the feelings, and you have to reframe your subconscious mind so you're able to move on past it, really. Number 19, you do not have to be chosen for you to be worth of. And I think this came from from my childhood. How I was never chosen by friends, I was never chosen by anybody. My last relationship, I was never chosen, literally. Like, I was the one that was always expected to be chosen, and if I wasn't, I will have a bad day, and that will literally be ruling my whole mood, right, throughout the day. Like, I was letting external circumstances rule my day, and that was because I thought I was not worthy of being chosen. And if I was chosen one day, it's like the whole world was perfect, but then if I wasn't, then I will have a bad life. And that's not how you're supposed to think of things. Really, you should really have the perspective of, I choose myself because I am worthy of being alive. Literally, you are worth because you are alive. Think about the chances of you being here, especially watching this video, if you're watching it. The opportunity for you to be living another day, that you are a very special individual, because not everybody is gonna be the same. So really think about that. So definitely just choose yourself first. Choose. Do not wait to be chosen. Number 20, softness is strength. And I know I've always been so hustle culture. I've always trained really hard. I've always been so harsh on myself. But really, sometimes leaning back gets you further in every single area of your life. And I guess a lot of people don't say that, because I know it's like hustle culture. Let's wake up at 5 a.m. Let's grind. Let's run. Let's do all of this. But in reality, sometimes when you live a life of softness, you enter a flow state. And when you're in flow state, things just happen magically because you are manifesting. And it is okay to embrace that. Even if nobody around you is doing it yet, you should really embrace that. You are not lazy. You are not behind. It is okay. Number 21, not everything heavy is wrong. You are just going through a transition. Especially for my girls that are quantum leaping like I am, this is something important to really keep in note. Because sometimes when you are manifesting, things are gonna start crumbling apart. You're gonna start losing your job. You could lose that relationship that you were looking for. And you probably go through an ego death, just like my past video. And sometimes it's okay. You have to embrace the change. Things are crumbling apart for a little bit for you to have a rebirth to your next identity. And instead of seeing it from a very bad point of, why is this happening for me, having all of this victim mindset, you get to understand why later down the line. And number 22, becoming authentic is the real success. Oh my God. I cannot be the only one that tried to be like everybody else. You see all these trends, you ask people, what are you gonna wear to the party? You want validation from everybody else, and that is the reason why you're doing this in the first place. But really, when you start being yourself, that's when things are gonna start shifting for you. Because being authentic, it is the highest frequency there is out there. And when you tap into that, that's when opportunities are gonna start falling into your lap. That's whenever manifestation just happens, because you are serving your purpose as an individual. So definitely that is something that I'm working on right now. That's why I'm doing this YouTube channel, because this is definitely one of my best creative pursuits I've had in a while. And I am very happy, I am very excited, and being authentic is my next goal for sure. That's why I am filming this video in the first place. And I really hope that if you're watching this, you want to reach, you are also striving to become authentic. Alright, so that was 22 lessons. Oh my god, I haven't filmed for this long in a while. And I am just very grateful that you watched this video towards the end. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're interested. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye.